Hello everyone. My name is Dilesh Yadav, and I'm currently in Unit 4. I have completed my Unit 4, and I was in the backend development doing the backend in the Node.js Express, and in database we were taught MongoDB, and my student code is FS40392709. And today I'm going to answer some of the question based on the questionnaires that were given to us on our Construct Week project. So over to you, Somjit. He's going to ask me question and I'm going to answer it.
Yeah, hello. My name is Somajit Pradhan.
Yeah.
My student code is FS13 underscore 32036. So today I ask some question to Nilesh. So let's start with the first sections. Like, what is the scope of the project? Why did you choose the same?
So the whole idea about the project is the crowdfunding. The our the name of our website is the launch fund, and the main aspect of this application is that users can come and then start a campaign based on their requirement, and then other people who came on the same website, they can donate some money to that campaign. So it is going to help the people who are in need. And the scope of the project is basically, the main aspect is to help people so that when the people are not financially stable, they can get some money. And this is, our project is just a dummy version. It is not being that it is not in the market currently, so we were just building it as a project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you walk me through the most challenging technical problem you encounter in your project and how you resolve it?
So there were many challenges that we had to face in the project that we were working on. So I was mostly working on the backend side of the project, and the most difficult problem that I encountered during this project is was the backend logic when the users create that the token is being created, and afterwards, after some times, the token expires. So we have to set the expiry time. So there was some issue in that. Afterwards, we solved the issue. So this was, I think, most difficult problem.
Ah, did you encounter any performance issue? How did you identify and address them?
Yeah, there was a performance issue in the front end part actually. So I was quietly working on the front end as not as much as Somjit, because he was the main part of the front end. And there was a problem where once the user search on the search bar, so once the user search, so afterwards is directly it's navigating again and again to the same page. So due to which what happens, if the user has to go to the previous page, so it becomes very difficult, because the number of times the user type, that number of times the user are being redirected to the same part. So we fixed it using the current URL where the users is present. If the users were present on the slash explore, then we did not navigate to them on the same page. Actually, he was on the same page. So this is how we encountered this problem and we solved it. And it was a major performance issue, and we encountered it and we solved it.
What specific technology did you use and why did you choose the same for this project?
So the technologies that we used in this project was MERN stack. It was purely based on JavaScript. And in the front end sector, we used React.js and Tailwind CSS. And in the backend, we used Node.js and Express as our backend application. And in database, we used MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database in which there is no table format data. It is object oriented. So this was the overall technologies that we used. And the reason in order to choose this, because it's highly scalable, and and the technologies that we are using are more basically fast in nature. So that's why we use these technologies in order to build our project.
How did you manage version control and collaboration in your project?
So in order to manage the version control and collaboration, we use Slack channel, which were given to us, and we created our separate channel onto that part, and we start implementing the project and what was the problem that we are facing. We used to discuss on that. We also use Google Meet in order to discuss whenever any problem is being faced. And apart from it, we used Git and GitHub as a main collaborative tool in order to write the code and merge it into our main repository and to handle all the conflicts which were arising.
Yeah. Describe a piece of feedback you received on your project and how you implemented it.
Yeah, there was some feedback into our backend logic that these routes were not working and some of the problems that their data is not coming from the database. So this was the feedbacks given from our front end team, basically Somjit, and then I implemented it. How what was the error which was there into that, and then I resolved it.
Yeah. What would you do differently if you were started this project over again?
So if we had to start this project over again, so the main difference that it would create is basically we will start planning it more wisely, because currently that we have done, we have not planned actually, and then we started working on the project, and once the features which were coming, we started building on that, on the top of that. So due to this reason, what happened, that there was not a clear vision that what we have to make next. So that is why if we want to start it again, then we would probably just start planning it and use diagrams in order to understand the flow of our architecture, how it's going to look like.
Yeah. Now we move to the next section, the design and architecture. Can you explain the architecture of your project? Why was it designed this way?
So the architecture, basically the technologies that we use remains the same, one stack. And the same, the architecture, if I talk about, is basically when the user come on the page, then they have to sign in. And if the user has not logged in, so they have to create an account and then they have to sign in. Then the user is stored in the database. And after that, the user can start a campaign. There is a button, start my campaign. And when they click on that, they have to fill up the form, they have to put up the images, for what reason, what was the title for which they wanted to start a campaign, and what is the amount they wanted to raise. So through that section they can start their campaign. And there is another section, that is my campaigns, in which the list of all the campaigns that the particular user who is currently logged in is going to show in the list format. They can edit it, basically they can delete it, and they can also view the dashboard, how many people have put the money into that and how many people have not. And there is an explore section in which all the campaigns that is being created on our platform, that is the launch fund, is going to be listed, and they can also view it, and they can also comment on particular campaign, and they can view the other comments as well into it. And there is another feature that we implemented, that is search functionality, in which the users can search a particular campaign based on their title. So this was the overall architecture of our application.
How did you ensure the scalability and security of your project?
So if I talk about the security, so mostly the security arises with the password. So when the users give its password, so in the database, we can't directly store the password into the string format. So for that reason, we used bcrypt, which is a third-party module. We downloaded it through npm node package manager. And when the users sign in, when the users sign up, so they gave their password. We try to convert it into another string. It is not readable. It is actually a different bunch of random letters are there, and they are stored in a database. So that the people who are in the backend team, they can also understand the what was the password actually. When the user write the same password again, then we once again try to convert it and try to match if the same password, that is encrypted password, matches or not. So this is how we ensure the security. And apart from this, we use JWT, authentication token. So JWT is a tokenization technique in which when the users logged in, for some time, when the users try to refresh the page again and again, they don't have to go again and log in, because we have given a token which is stored into the local storage, and it will get continuously. And there is a limit. Basically, there is an expiry time. After some time, the token will expire and the user once again have to log in. So this is how we are maintaining the security for application.
How did you collaborate with your team member on this project? Can you give an example of how you resolve a conflict or a disagreement?
Yeah, the main collaborative tool that we used is the Git and GitHub, because all the team members of our project were on this repository that I created, and they have flowed into their own systems, and they push into their respective branches. And when the team leader has to merge it, when seeing that there is a no conflict. So there was a time when there was a conflict between the front end part I implemented one feature, that is navigation part, and Somjit was another team member who were working on the front end part. He also implemented the same, but in a different manner. So there was a conflict arising in that way. So we then resolved the conflict on that.
Yeah. And describe a situation where you had incorporate feedback from other into your project.
So yeah, if I talk about feedback, there were many times that feedback given from our team members, such as Somjit. There was a one time when Somjit said that there was an error give where the API call was made but no data was coming. So actually there was some issue into that API part into a backend logic. Then I figured it out the what was the issue and then I resolved it.
Yeah. What are your contribution to this project?
So my main contribution towards this project is the backend logic and writing the APIs, the RESTful APIs that I created, and then those APIs which were used in order to write the front end logic in order to display the data coming from the backend. So my main contribution towards this project is the backend part.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all.
So yeah, that was all
Mm.
from my side.
Yeah.
Okay.